Well, hello there, modelers, and welcome back to another edition of TrekWorks. Boyd here with you again, and today I've got a lot of exciting stuff to show you guys. We've got a lot going on out in the shop. I apologize for not having my regular video updates. I've been kind of busy lately, but we're going to get back to our regular format here of getting you regular updates every other day or so on what's going on out in the shop. And I thought I'd show you guys what I've been up to the last couple of days. I'm continuing to work on Jason's Yamato, and I will get back to showing that on the bench here in just a couple minutes. But I wanted to show you guys a couple things I've been working on the side here a little bit. This is my 1/1000 scale Enterprise refit as it was seen in Star Trek 3 after she self-destructed. And this is a 1/1000 scale Polar Lights refit kit that's been refitted with the resin saucer here that you can see that's available from Brad Hair Productions. I picked this up off of Cult TV Man's website. And I did this build up for the Sci-Fi Fans and Modelers United group out there run by my friend Christopher Whitford. We had a little group build over there called the Iron Modelers Challenge. We had a week to build a model, and this is what my entry was. And I'll just kind of give you guys a little close-up detail view of this thing. I did a lot of work on this. I did all this battle damage myself, and you can see I cut some holes in it here and there and used my hobby knife to make some detail where the panels are blown open and things like that. And then it's also got some on the inner parts of the damage. You can see I used some photo etch parts from Paragraphics that show all the inner decking and details and things like that on the inside. And the deflector dish is all damaged in the warp nacelles and everything. I had a lot of fun working on that one. And here we've got the repopped Alien Xenomorph figure from MPC, which Round 2 has bought them out and now has re-released this kit. You can see here I did quite a bit of detailing on him. Really nice paint job on him. He's got a bunch of different colors on him there, and I did a lot of highlighting and things. You can see there I've even simulated the sort of nasty drool that we always saw coming out of their mouths, and how I achieved that is I used some clear silicone so that when it dried it wouldn't get all nasty and sticky and everything like that, and it looks just like the stuff that we saw dripping out of their mouths all the time. And you can see at the top here his head is sort of transparent, and you can see inside to see some of the detail that's in there. I basically used a couple layers of light dusting of different shades of metallic, and if you can notice in the light here, I actually used some more of my iridescent blue color that when it hits him a certain angle he kind of looks, you know, it makes him look more metallic, and I really like how that turned out. It was a lot of fun to work on him. Built him in a couple of days. And then over here, one of my projects that I've been wanting to do for a long time is this, I'm a big fan of the movie Christine, and I've had this model kit for years. It's so old that the box is actually starting to fall apart. I believe it came out in 1993. But I'm building this one up, and you can see it's turning out really nice. I've spent a long time making the body nice and shiny and all polished out. There's a lot of work that went into this. For example, this scoop on here is two-piece, and then where it attaches onto the hood is a separate, and I've puttied all that up and sanded it smooth and everything and gotten rid of all the seams on it. And it's turning out really nice. Same thing with the grill there in the front. It's two-piece, and I've really got a nice smooth paint job on this. And you can see by these pictures here that the model has a really detailed chassis and engine and everything. And I'll be going through and doing all the detailing on that. So I'll show you some more updates on that as we go along. And then here's something that's really cool. I just got this in from Steve again at Cult TV Man. This is a cutaway model of the Space Battleship Yamato, and I believe it's in 1/700 scale. It's also made by Bandai. Let me slide my alien guy out of the way here so you can get a better look at it. But my plan for this one is when I eventually get to building my own 350 Yamato that I've got sitting up here later on after I finish Jason's model, when I set up my display, the 350 Yamato will be up above, basically, and this little cutaway version will be below it. So you can get kind of an insider's view or mechanical view of the inner structure of the ship, which I think is going to be really fun. I'm going to build this up very similar to the way I built my cutaway Enterprise a while back. and detail it all out. I don't think I'm going to do any lighting on it or anything like that, but there is a lot of parts to this model, and it can be detailed really, really cool with some creative painting. So I'm looking forward to that. And thanks to you, Jason, you've really got me hooked on this Space Battleship Yamato stuff, so can't thank you enough for that. It's a great find. I'm watching all the episodes of 2199 and really getting into the whole genre, so I really like that. So that's some of the things we've been working on, guys. It's going to be really busy around here. I'll take you over to the bench in a second. I'm also working on a client build right now of a TOS 350. That's for Wes. And I'll show you some of the parts that I've got ready and I've been working on for that. We're going to be getting that model finished up here in another couple of weeks. So, and then we'll get back to some more work on the Yamato today. So we'll come back in just a second, guys, and show you some action on the bench. Be right back. Okay, everybody, well, here we are back again, and you can see we've got the Yamato back up on the bench. And since the last time you guys saw this, we've got a lot more done. You can see we've added all the superstructure on it now, all the spoilers, the smokestack, all the guns are in place now, everything's working. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to finish doing the detail here on these guns, these little extensions that stick out on each one. We're going to install the anchor and get these all reeled back up inside. And a couple little other little details here. You can see that our little smokestack works pretty cool here. You got kind of a hard time getting your hand in there, but you push the lever down and you can see it opens up the top and the little missiles deploy. That's really cool. So we've got a lot going on this thing. So over here on the bench, I'm working on the nacelles for Wes's TOS. What I've done here is I've went in and glued these together, and I've sanded them down with some 80 grit paper there on the seams. And we're going to come back here in just a little bit and show you how we're going to get those puttied up and sanded down and ready for primer. So we'll be back with that. One more cool thing I wanted to show you guys before we get set up and start working on the Yamato. What you see on my laptop here, this is a really beautiful Galileo model kit from Randy Cooper Models. I've just ordered this kit, and it'll be in here probably next week. I'm really looking forward to building this one. I saw one of the guys at Sci-Fi Model Action told me about this model, and it's a great little model kit. And since it's going to be a while before the round 2 release of the Galileo, I've decided to build this one. This one's really detailed and with a full interior and everything, so I'm really looking forward to that. And we'll do a whole build-up series on that model here on the channel for you guys. So that'll be a lot of fun. Okay, guys, well, I'll come back here in just a second, get the camera set up, and we'll get some parts ready, and we'll start mounting them on the gun emplacements here and do a little bit more detailing on the Yamato today. So I'll be right back with that, guys. Okay, here we go, guys. Some more assembly of the Yamato, and you can see what I've been doing here is working on these little extensions that go on the main guns. I've painted these little inserts here to match like they show on the box art, and pretty simple. These are just 2 halves, and this little end is pressed in there to the outside. And I'll take you up top here to the gun, and we'll show you. I've got several of the other ones already put on, but we'll show you getting these put on. And they just basically fit in these little slots right here, and it's a press fit, just like everything else in this model is. Everything's fitting really, really nice here. Okay, those are down there for us, so let me go ahead and rotate the guns here for you. So there you can see what they look like. That nice little detail on there is really nice. Tighten up on this shot here for you. Okay, so we're looking good on that. So what we're going to do next, guys, we're going to come up here and get the anchors installed. And I've got the part sheets right here. I'll get those off the tree, and we'll come back and we'll put those on real quick. So I'll be right back with that, guys. Okay, guys, well, here we are back again, and I'm putting the anchors on. I've got the one done on the other side already, but I'll basically explain how this works. You can see we've got the upper part of the anchor assembly attached to the chain. All this is a clamp type assembly, and the first link of the chain fits on a little pin in there, and you clamp these 2 halves together over the top of it. There's a slot on the bottom where the lower part of the anchor assembly goes on. I've used a little drop of CA in that to make sure that it doesn't come apart. And we're going to put a little drop of CA on this anchor assembly itself here. And then we're going to go ahead and put it up inside the slot there. Oops, a little bit hard to handle there. Okay, we're just going to put it up in there. And this slides all the way up in until it bottoms out and basically clamps on there like that, as you can see. I'm going to make sure I've got this straight. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Okay, and then now we can reel the anchor up the rest of the way and get it in its retracted position here. Got this little thumb wheel on the top. And you can see that's how it sits. It's got a little foot there sort of on the back side. And we'll add a little weathering on that in a little bit here. But so that worked out really good. Let me pull back on this and you can see. So yep, she's looking good, guys. That's all we're going to do on the Yamato today. We'll have a little bit more next time when we come back. We'll be adding more of the superstructure on here, little details here and there. And then we're going to be putting the little brass photo etched railing there on the front and the rear. And when we come back with our next video, we'll show you how we're going to do that. So that's worked out pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to head over to the painting bench, guys, and we'll show you those nacelles that we're working on for the TOS 350 for Wes. And we'll put our coat of squadron putty on those. We'll let those dry a little bit and we'll sand those down and get those all primed up. Be right back with that, guys. Alright everybody, well here we are and we're set up ready to go, and we're going to start working on our seams on our nacelles here now. I've done some initial sanding with some 80 grit paper here. You can see I've been just kind of working them a little bit, and that way we're giving some traction for our putty to stick to. And I'm getting rid of that little step that's on the top of this. They're not quite straight like most of these model kits are. But we've got a nice good seal on here. Just kind of cleaning it up a little bit where we had our glue. And I purposely let a little bit of glue leak out of these seams a little bit so that we had a little bit of buildup in there. That helped to fill the gaps already just a little bit. And we'll just kind of scuff these in. Now I'm just using 80 grit paper here, keeping my fingers like right in the middle of it so I don't sand the outer edges. We don't want to make any flat spots. But this is going to help have, you know, allow the Bondo or the filler here that we're going to use something to stick to. So we want this to be a little bit rough initially. And this 80 grit paper will take this down really fast. Okay, and you can see, guys, I've got two types of putty here. I'm going to start off using this white squadron putty to fill the initial gap. I like this stuff because it dries really hard, and we're going to fill this seam in with it. And then after we get that dried and sanded down, we're going to come back with our spot putty here and take care of the really minor small pits or imperfections in the seam. And that's what this stuff is used for. This is not meant for like big gaps and seams like this. It's just a kind of a cleanup putty. So we'll go ahead and start putting our squadron putty on this now. I'm just going to put a nice coat of this on here. Again, the drying time on this is fairly fast too. About 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so it'll be dry enough where we can actually come back and start sanding it. Now what I'll do is I'll let that sit for just a minute. We'll go and do the other side. And what this stuff does is it tends to shrink just a little bit, and it'll recess in there, and we'll have actually a low spot, which we don't want. We want our putty to be high so that when we sand this off, all we're leaving is the low spots filled. So I'm going to let this dry just a little bit, and I'm going to work on the other side, and we'll come back to it here in a second. sure we get all the way out on the end there. Okay, that one, now what we're going to do here is flip back over, and if you look really closely here, you can see where it's already sort of sunk down a little bit into that seam. So I'm just going to go ahead and put another coat over top of that. All the way up to that end, and then we'll take our little scribing tool after this is all dry, and we'll get that nice little line back on there that we just covered up. A little detail. Again, it looks like I'm putting this on pretty thick, but this stuff dries really fast, and in this case I want it to be on there thick because I want this putty all to be on the high side. I don't want it to be low and sunk into the seam, so that when I sand it down, I'm going to have a nice smooth surface. So you can see that now. We'll come back and repeat that process on this side, because you can see, just like I talked about, if I hold this in the light just right, you can see where it sort of sunk in and went back into the seam now. So we want to coat that again.
Which is totally fine, except when two people try to sleep comfortably together in the same bed at the same time. Then, sleeplessness and tossing and turning is the problem. And now there's a solution. The Sleep Number Dual Temp Temperature Balancing Layer. It works on any mattress brand, including yours. Whether you sleep too hot or too cool, the Dual Temp Layer with Activator technology heats your clothes.
Okay guys, you can see we've got it coated nice and liberally here. Make sure I've got some on here on this end. And what we're going to do is I'll repeat this on the other nacelle off camera. We'll come and let these dry a little bit, and then we'll come back and start sanding these down, guys. So I'll be right back with that in just a few seconds. Okay guys, well here we are, we're back, and we've been working on the nacelles. And you can see that what we've done here is I've sanded these down with my 80 grit to get rid of my excess putty, and then I finished sanding these with some 320 to get rid of the deep sanding scratches on these. Now this one here, I've gone back and primed it, and you can see our seam is almost completely gone already. So what I'm doing is letting this one dry, and then we'll come back and sand this a little bit, and we'll come back and top coat it with this, which I mentioned earlier, the 3M spot putty, just to take care of the last of the imperfections there. And then we'll be priming it again and final sanding it, and that'll be a wrap on these. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and lay a primer coat down on this one, and that will help me to see where my imperfections are. Just a very light coat here. Alright guys, so what I'll be doing now is letting this one dry up a little bit here, and then we're going to come back and be using some of our spot putty on this. Actually what we'll do right now is we'll go ahead and lay a coat of that down on the one that we've got dry already. I'm going to lightly hit this on the seam again, just to give it some traction, something to stick to with my 320 paper here. Remember, this primer too, guys, is acting like a filler, and it will help you with your small minor imperfections. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to lay a bead of this lighter putty on there. And this, just like for pinholes and really minor imperfections, this stuff dries really fast. It's really much more creamy than the squadron putty that I just used a minute ago.
Get ready for fall driving and savings at CarQuest Auto Parts. For outstanding engine wear protection, you need Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil.
Okay.
Save $12 by mail and rebate when you purchase 5 quarts of Mobil 1 at CarQuest. Offer ends September 28th at participating CarQuest Auto Parts locations or visit carquest.com.
Alright guys, a little bit of drying time on that. We'll come back and show you a little bit more. We'll be sanding that one down and doing one more coat of primer, and everything will be looking really good here. So stay tuned guys, we'll be right back in just a little bit. Okay everybody, we're back again, and you can see I've been working on these a little bit. This one's been pretty much completed. You can see we've got our seams all pretty much gone on this. We'll be sanding this down one more time with some fine paper to get the primer all smoothed out. And we're working on this one here. You can see I've allowed these to dry a little bit. And I'm going to be using some water now to wet sand these down. This will help my paper from getting clogged. And this will sand down. This 3M putty sands down really easily since it's so soft. And I'm using some 320 grit paper to do this. And we'll get this sanded down smooth here. And then we'll put another coat of primer on this. And I'll let this one dry overnight. And we'll come back and final sand both of these tomorrow. But it's turning out really nice. You can see as soon as your paper starts to clog up a little bit, you just apply a little bit more water. And you can see adding that water on there just helps it to cut through this putty really, really fast. And we want to make sure that we get our sanded all the way out to the edges there, so we don't have any ridges or anything left over. This is all sanding out really nice. Let's see, right up in here. Okay. Go to the other side now and re-wet our paper. This is all coming down very, very easily. Like I said, the difference between these primers is, or these putties, is your squadron tends to be a little bit harder and more rigid, and I'd like to use that for filling, you know, big gaps and things like that, or even beyond that. Occasionally I'll use the Evercoat, which we'll be showing you using some of that when we get to doing some of the other parts on the model here. I'll be using a little bit of that on the saucer and things like that, but and you can just see, I'll show you when I finish sanding this down and I wipe this off, you'll be able to see where our spot putty here has filled in the final low spots that we had before, after the last or the first application of putty. This is coming out really good. Time to clean my paper, and again, using a little bit of this water, you can see how that instantly unclogs my paper and doesn't create a whole lot of dust and things like that. Wet sanding is really good for models. Okay, we'll just kind of go over this other side again here a little bit. And just kind of take my finger and feel on this so I don't feel any ridges or edges or anything. It feels baby smooth. It's really nice. Just kind of blend this all in now. give this a little wipe down real quick. And of course now you can see where our spot putty has gone and filled in all these little low spots and little imperfections that were on there. And that's what we wanted. We want that to come out really nice. Let me grab a fresh towel here. And we'll finish wiping this down some more, and then we're going to put a little bit of primer on it. Okay. Alright, we're ready to go here. I'm going to get my trusty heat gun out for a second and just real quick dry all the moisture off of this. Alright. See a little spot there on the bottom I need to wipe off a little bit better here. Okay guys, and we're going to go ahead and coat these down with some primer now. You can see how beautiful they look already. I mean, it's just coming out gorgeous. And you'll see just a little bit of a hint of that seam there. But when I final sand these down with the 600 grit paper to get my smooth surface for getting ready for paint, these will come out perfectly smooth, guys. So there you have it. You can see they came out really, really nice. No seam whatsoever there anymore. Let me cover up a little bit up here. And this is a high build primer, so it's really nice and thick. We'll have plenty of fill on there that we can sand with. So there's our nacelles. And you can see, I'll get you a little closer on. They came out beautifully. And let me take you over here, guys, to the bench and show you what else I was working on in between here. Been working on the chassis and the engine for the Christine dragster. And you can see what I've done here is built the engine up. I put a lot of detail into this. You notice I've even done the spark plug wires there. It's got the name Christine on the valve covers that I did in red. And to make the spark plug wires, I just basically used some of my magnet wire. This 28 gauge stuff right here, and then I just painted them yellow to kind of look like the old Excel high performance spark plug wires used to look. Did some detailing on the Dominator carbs there, and it's supposed to have a carbon fiber top on the intake manifold there, so I painted that with a carbon fiber color. And we've got the headers and transmission and everything. I'm going to be starting to build the rest of the chassis here in the next update. And what I've done with these tires is I've scuffed these all down so that they look like real drag slicks and like they've been used a little bit. So we'll let all this dry overnight and we'll come back and we'll have some more to show you on that a little later, guys. So alright everybody, well that's going to be a wrap for this one. I've had a great busy day out in the shop today. So we'll see you in a couple more days with another update. We'll be back to working on the Yamato over there, and we'll be back to the Christine, and we'll be back to the TOS Enterprise build-up. So we'll see you then, guys. Until then, take care, everybody, and happy modeling, everyone.